gentlemen. Welcome to the Glendale Housing Authority meeting for January 23rd, 2007. Call the meeting to order at 2:35 p.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Authority members Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Grazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Yusefian.
Here.
Chairman Manukian.
Here, can we have the report?
Agenda for the January 23rd, 2007 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, January 18, 2007 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. Do we have minutes?
I'll move 4A. I think there are a couple of abstentions.
Yes, I will abstain from voting on the minutes.
Second.
I'll also abstain. I wasn't present either, so with those two abstentions, the minutes will be approved as submitted. Next item, please.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
Thank you. Mr. Herbert Milano, 5 minutes, please.
Good afternoon, Councilman Manukian, members of the Housing Authority and city staff. My name is Herbert Milano. At one of the most recent sessions that I attended, there was a gentleman by the name of R.M. Kasassian who made a presentation with regard to a concept that he had about turning his apartment building into condominiums that he planned to sell to his own tenants. And a couple of years ago, I made a similar presentation and suggestion to the Housing Authority that probably one of the most effective ways that we have at our disposal to create affordable housing might be through the venue of the condominium conversion. And given the recent changes that you've made to ordinances, eventually those decisions are basically yours. The final say will have the final say-so with regard to those projects. And I have come here to basically make a suggestion to give this concept a try. If we were to take a 10-unit building, an apartment building, and sell it as an apartment building, we would probably get $200,000 per unit as an apartment building. If we were to sell it as a condominium, it would fetch $350,000 to $400,000 for a 1,000 square foot apartment. So given that, there is a significant benefit to the property owner to turn those apartments into condominiums. But if it is sold to the tenants, then there are really no changes with regard to the usage and the people who are living there, and issues concerning noise and parking basically is unchanged. But since this appears to be a tall order to basically promote something of that significance for that many people, I would say that we have an opportunity to do it on a trial basis, and here's my suggestion. That we try something along these lines in order to promote affordability of housing for school teachers. Now, I just got reminded of that because I just rented an apartment to a school teacher from Los Angeles. And, you know, the salaries are pretty much well known. Salaries here in Glendale is about $38,000 for a new teacher. That teacher is not going to be able to afford to live here. Consequently, they're not really as involved in the community as we would like them to be. And I know many teachers say at 3 o'clock, I'm out of here, or at 3:10, you know, they're trying to beat the traffic. And we need that type of continuity for our youth, that the teachers be residents of the city. So my suggestion is that for consideration for the council, for the housing authority, is that we look at condominium conversion by setting aside at least 2 units for teachers, so that they in turn, even at a salary of $38,000, if we sell two of those condominiums at the price that they would be as an apartment building, as such, then you will be giving someone an instant equity of $150,000 to $200,000. This is obviously in 5 minutes. I cannot flesh this out, but the concept is that you then are aiding significantly our school district in bringing in some fresh blood and quality teachers, hopefully, those individuals who are going to partake in the community and in the growth of those students even further. That is my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Mr. Milano, who would pay for this?
Who
Who
would
would pay for the difference by giving these school teachers a less expensive apartment, paying less? Where would that money come from?
Well, when the building is sold as a condominium, there is a significant gain, a capital gain that the property owner will be making. So in order to facilitate and expedite this process of the condominium conversion, the savings that the owner makes by not having to do all of the additional requirements concerning parking, for example, or the sound walls and so forth, in exchange for that savings, basically he will provide 2 of those units as affordable housing for school teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Richard Espiritu?
Mr.
Yes, Mr.
I have a question later. I will ask after
Okay.
the overcoming session.
From the speaker or staff?
No, from
From staff, okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Housing Authority, and staff. I am Dr. Richard Espiritu. On January the 9th, there was a project presented here to the Housing Authority called the Mira Loma Project. It was also had another name, the Metro Loma LP. I submitted a request for some information regarding that particular project because I had the ability to review that project with a great deal of depth and spent a lot of time. With my computer, I had to blow it up nearly 400% to look at the design. Now that Mr. Howard's here, I would like him to, at some point in time, explain to the Housing Authority what Operation Home Sweet Home is, as well as Project Civic Access. This particular project, the Mira Loma project, has a total of 44 units. It's all affordable. Okay? 29 are supposed to be 2 bedrooms, 14 are 3 bedrooms. According to the Housing HUD, there has to be 3 accessible units and 1 accessible unit for the hearing impaired. The interesting thing is that they only have 3 handicap parking spaces. They have 106 parking spaces. We have an interesting dilemma here. We have Title 24 on one hand, ADA, HUD on the other hand, and there is no provision for visitor parking. And we went through this once before with another project. In the proposal, they said they have to have 4 accessible parking spaces, or 4 accessible units, 3 for the disabled and 1 for the hearing or visually impaired. That totals 4. You only have 3 parking spaces. Are you telling me that one of those people is not going to drive a car? If you say that, then I'm going to have to bring up a lady by the name of Bonnie Adams, who is visually impaired, has been since she was a young child, but her health care giver does drive a car. They do own a car. Now, my problem is, in the proposal, they said, if we get HUD funding. HUD doesn't say you need to have HUD funding. It says if this is an accessible apartment, this is an accessible, low-income, affordable housing project. It does fall under the guidelines. Also, in accordance with their own proposal that was delivered to you on the 9th of January, they said funding in January of '07 from NOFA. We're talking about federal funds here, government funds for affordable housing project. Please, let us take in consideration the situation that people with disabilities need to have accessibility to affordable housing. Operation Home Sweet Home, I've already contacted, and I've also sent a letter to the Inspector General to find out what the discrepancy is here. Why I read one thing, have one set of guidelines on one hand, and the developer is coming up with some other things. And I did get a letter back from him on the 13th of this month did review it at great length, reviewed it numerous times, set up my own file folder on this one, and I have been reviewing this thing over and over again. So, Operation Home Sweet Home. Okay? I'll give you a hint, Mr. Howard. It's a new program under the Department of Justice. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Youssef?
I think I want to know if Madeline knows this or not. Doesn't this project also following SB 1818, which is a new guidelines by the state of California requiring lower number of parking spaces throughout the project? I think we kind of had to follow that.
Yeah, it's a density bonus provision under SB 1818 where I think there's two, the developer gets to have two reduced provisions in our zoning code for affordable housing.
Right.
But I don't know if that's affected parking here or not. We'd have to take a look
I think
at the plans.
I think that may be one other item that sometimes when you look at it, you have certain provisions, and then the state comes in and has another provision, so you got to kind of keep all of those in context.
Well, I think suffice to say, though, that this project will have to comply with those regulations that are applicable to it.
Absolutely.
Or they're
Whether it's
not
for
going to get money.
handicap parking or our own local standards, and if indeed 1818 gives them some leeway with respect to that, they can take advantage of it. But if it's federal regulations that apply, if it's state regulations that apply, if it's handicap parking, if it's accessible units, it'll be required to comply.
Right.
Yeah, and my recollection is I know on the 1855 South Brand, they're meeting code on parking, and I'm quite sure they're meeting code on parking on this one too, but we'll check on it.
But 1818 may not let them off the hook on other handicap or accessible standards, and in which case they're going to have to comply.
I don't believe it would on handicapped. It allows them a reduction in standards from a reduction from our local zoning standards.
Right, but not federal or
But
state
not
standards.
federal or state handicap
And if
or
HUD has
disability
regulations, and if indeed
accessibility.
they're applicable to this project, I want to stress that, if they're applicable to this project, then they'll have to comply with those as well.
Absolutely.
Very well, I have no more cards. Oral communications closed.
And, Mr. Mayor, I had another question from the city attorney. No.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, Mr. Chair, sorry, Mr. Chair. Did we or did we not agendize an item that came in front of the council and agency as a joint meeting, the authority, to discuss about condo conversions and also to require for certain condo conversions that did not meet certain regulations to, in exchange for that, to give a certain percentage of the units to become affordable? Because I remember something of that nature.
You may have asked for it. I don't believe that's come before the council or the housing authority as a joint meeting or as an individual meeting. There may have been some discussion when we addressed the issue of density waivers.
And you did, if I can, you did have a conversation about broad policies applicable to waivers, but I don't recall that you gave us any specific direction.
I specifically, you guys can go
But we'll have
check,
to go
but
check.
I'm going based on my memory. My specific memory tells me I wanted that item agendized, it was agendized, it was brought up, and the agency and council, by majority vote, decided not to move in that direction.
I recall you had the
You may
conversation.
want,
I
yes,
recall the
because I
discussion.
remember discussing this issue.
I know, I like you, from going from my memory, I do recall the discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure in the
We'll-
precise
we'll
context.
Check our notes. I think you may be correct.
And to answer to that last one, I'd like to refresh people's memory that the developer was given an opportunity to create 4 affordable units out of 28, and the developer chose not to do that. The other option was for developer, in exchange, because he did not want to deal with the affordable issue, to give $250,000 to Habitat for Humanity, which he got the votes on a 3-2 vote, and then the developer, for some mysterious reasons, decided he wasn't going to take the chance and decided not to do that. So I think his council has been trying to work in that direction, but
Okay. Okay. We don't have a business agenda. Are there any authority member or staff comments? See none.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Second.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Glendale Redevelopment Agency meeting of January 23rd, 2007. May we have a roll call for agency, please?
Agency members Menuchyan, Najarian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Yusefian.
Here. May we have your report, please?
The agenda for the January 23rd, 2007 regular meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, January 18, 2007, on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Okay. What's next, please?
Next is approval of minutes.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? I